What's going on, everyone? It's your boy Trippy, and today I wanted to go over all of the main Dojutsu of the series and give my opinion on where they place in terms of scaling. Again, it'll only be the main Dojutsu that had a purpose to the main story, so if I forget to include some random Dojutsu from a filler arc or something, I'm sorry, but those just won't be included. So to start us off, I think it's pretty obvious that it's the One Tomoe Sharingan. This is the first stage of the Sharingan, and most Uchiha had it as kids. Though it's an upgrade from a normal eye, it pretty much just grants the user the ability to read opponents' movements better, and it's unknown if this stage can copy ninjutsu. It can definitely copy someone's taijutsu, as seen when Sarada did this in the anime when training with Sakura. I would assume that the user can also copy ninjutsu, but again, this was never really shown. Aside from that, that's pretty much all that the One Tomoe Sharingan can do. Next up is the Two Tomoe Sharingan. This is essentially everything that the One Tomoe is, except better. The user is able to read opponents' movements with better precision as well as copy jutsu. Again, we only really see taijutsu copied with this variant of the Sharingan when Sasuke copies Rock Lee's movements, but we can assume that you would be able to copy ninjutsu as well, because when Kakashi first gets his Sharingan from Obito, it's the Two Tomoe state, and throughout the rest of the war he would come to be known as the Copy Ninja. Also in this state we see Kakashi, Sasuke, and Sarada are able to use the Chidori, meaning that it should have some form of precog to be able to react to things when moving that fast. And in this state, the user should be able to cast minor genjutsu as well. Moving on, we have the Byakugan. This eye lets the user see chakra points throughout someone's body and also grants the user the ability of the Gentle Fist, or at least lets them put it to good use, as it can shut down these chakra points with just a touch. And shutting down these chakra points messes up their opponent's chakra flow and weakens them. A user of the Byakugan also has 360-degree vision and can also see really far. Neji was able to see someone that was 800 meters away. That's 2,634 feet, or about half a mile. It's also stated that the Byakugan can anticipate movements, and the way it was described makes it seem like it was separate from the 360-degree vision, meaning that the Byakugan may have precog just like the Sharingan, which is why I put it higher. But it's not higher than the Three Tomoe Sharingan, so take everything I said about the Two Tomoe and crank it up to 10. This state of the Sharingan can again read people's movements, but to a way better degree, as shown by Sasuke himself when he unlocked it. He was able to predict Naruto's movements before they were even happening, meaning that this state of the Sharingan definitely has precog, as well as the ability to see things down to a microscopic level, as seen when Sasuke sees Deidara's microscopic clay entering his body and he made a move to counter it. On top of this, it is for sure able to copy ninjutsu. Kakashi literally made a name for himself by doing this, and we see him doing it with the Three Tomoe state of the Sharingan. And the user can now cast advanced genjutsu. We see Kakashi casually trick Sakura into believing that she saw Sasuke die, as well as Sasuke catching Deidara in a genjutsu when he explicitly trained to counter ocular genjutsu. We also saw that Obito was able to control Yagura, who was a perfect Jinchuriki for years with the Three Tomoe Sharingan, and he was also able to trap the Nine Tails in a genjutsu, and the Nine Tails is the strongest of the Bijuu. This may depend on the user though, but with enough training I suppose it could theoretically be done by anybody with a Three Tomoe Sharingan. Also, I didn't mention this, but all forms of the Sharingan should be able to see chakra. They can distinguish it because it has a certain color that the Sharingan is able to see. An example of this is when Obito stabbed that one ninja even though he was invisible. This is because he could see his chakra. But unlike the Byakugan, it's not so precise that it can see chakra points, but yeah, it could still see chakra as a solid object. In the Three Tomoe state, the user can most likely also use the forbidden jutsu Izanami and Izanagi. We know this because Danzo uses a bunch of Three Tomoe Sharingan when he uses Izanagi. Izanagi essentially allows the user to tap into the creation of all things ability used by the Sage of Six Paths and rewrite history. This is only really used in the series to undo the user's death, and Izanami was created to counter Izanagi. It essentially is a genjutsu loop that takes 3 stages to set up and can only be broken if the person that's caught in it decides to change their ways. Using either of these jutsu results in one of the Sharingan going blind and pretty much losing all of its power. It should be noted though that outside of Danzo and Obito, Izanagi and Izanami were only used with Mangekyo Sharingan. So there's a case to be made that you might need Hashirama cells or something in order to use it with the base 3 Tomoe Sharingan. Next up we get into the Mangekyo Sharingan of the series, and for the base stats, it's pretty much everything that the 3 Tomoe has, but again just cranked up to 10. And I think that Sasuke probably has the weakest MS. Not to say that it's weak by any means, it just doesn't have the raw power or hacks of some of the other Mangekyo in the series. He does have Amaterasu in one eye and can control the Amaterasu with the other, as well as being able to use the armored Susanoo. With the MS, Sasuke was able to react to the movements of the 4th Raikage, who is at that point in the series the fastest shinobi, with him only being outclassed by people like Minato. So yeah, the reaction time is kinda insane. After Sasuke's MS, I think that all of these next 3 are kind of interchangeable, but we have Itachi's MS, Sasori's MS, and Sasuke's EMS. Itachi's MS is insanely broken. It has Amaterasu just like Sasuke's MS, though he can't control the flames to the same degree. But he makes up for this by having one of the best genjutsu in the entire series, Tsukuyomi, which can literally make someone live out their lifetime in fractions of a second and just completely break someone mentally. Even when Itachi was holding back, he left Kakashi bedridden for weeks. That was only 3 days of torture that Kakashi took, and it took place in fractions of a second, but Itachi can make you live out an entire lifetime if he so chooses, as evident from when he did this to Izumi. And on top of that, he can use the armored Susanoo and has pretty much the most broken Susanoo in the series because he is in possession of the Yaramir and the Totsuka blade. The Yaramir is a shield that can block any attack, as it can change the chakra nature to completely counter literally anything. And the Totsuka blade can seal away anyone that it manages to touch, so if you're stabbed by the Totsuka blade, it's just GG's. Then you have Shisui, who I put this high just based off the fact that he has Kodo Matsukami, which is a genjutsu that makes anyone he casts it on do whatever Shisui wants, and they think that it's of their own will. Pretty much the most broken genjutsu ever. And he also has a Susanoo in the games, though I don't fully know the canonicity of that, so take that one with a grain of salt. But the genjutsu alone would place him this high. Then you have Sasuke with his EMS, which is everything he could do with the MS, but he doesn't go blind, and he can now use up to the humanoid Susanoo, which is just the armored Susanoo but with legs, so it's more mobile. Plus there's a statement literally saying that he was equal to Itachi when Sasuke joins the war and first unlocks his EMS. That's why I say that they're pretty much interchangeable. For these next 2 spots, it was really hard to decide exactly where to place them because the Rinnegan just has way more destructive capabilities and Obito's MS just has better hacks. But I'm gonna be putting Obito's MS here first and then the base Rinnegan above it. So for Obito's MS, it's just broken beyond belief. In one eye, it gives you the ability to go completely intangible, meaning nothing can touch you, as well as the ability to teleport through the Kamui dimension and back to wherever you want in the real world, which that alone is insanely broken. We see how just being able to teleport can make you one of the strongest shinobi in history because Minato has this ability through the Flying Raijin and was able to solo armies of ninja by himself with just that ability. Then in the other eye, you're able to suck things into the Kamui dimension. This is the ability that Kakashi can use, and yeah, again, it's just broken. He's able to snipe off people's limbs, such as when he literally did this to Deidara by sucking his arm into the Kamui dimension, as well as just flat out being able to negate attacks. He does this a few times, most notably against Pain and against Sasuke. But yeah, I think that's enough to place this above the other MS and Sasuke's EMS. Then we move on to the Rinnegan, which was used most prominently by Pain or Nagato. And yeah, the Rinnegan is just insane. It has the power to revive the dead, suck out people's souls, absorb ninjutsu, as well as having some of the most powerful summons like the Rhino, that is just a brute force summon, the Iguana that can go completely invisible, and he also has a bird summon and a centipede. And on top of this, it grants the user the ability to shoot literal rockets out of their hands, as well as a scorpion-like blade, like tail. And these aren't even the most broken abilities yet. The Rinnegan also has gravity warping abilities such as Shinra Tensei, which pushes anything back and can negate most attacks, as well as being strong enough to level the entire Leaf Village. Also Banshao Tenin, which can pull people towards the user. And the strongest of all the Rinnegan abilities, Shibaku Tensei, which is essentially a small black hole that sucks everything in the area into it and forms a ball that looks like a small planet. There's only 2 known ways to even escape this. One is to just brute force it, but you'll need power on the level of like 8 Tails Naruto to do that, or you can hit the core with enough power to destroy it before it happens, but this was only done by some of the strongest attacks from KCM Naruto, Killer Bee, and Itachi. So it's not easy to do either. And yeah, the Rinnegan is pretty much just insane. But you know what's more insane? The Rinne Sharingan, which can do everything the base Rinnegan can do and more. So take everything I just said about the Rinnegan and add the ability to switch places with any object you're looking at, and the ability to travel freely through different dimensions, as well as having the abilities of the Sharingan ingrained into it. We only see Sasuke use this eye to its full potential, and even then he didn't utilize all of the abilities that it possesses. This is also the eye that awakens on the Otsutsuki's head when they've reached their full power, so yeah, it's easily the strongest eye in the Naruto series. I also thought that I'd add this in at the end here, but I didn't really talk about Madara's Mangekyo because we honestly don't really know exactly what the abilities were. In the games, it's like partial time reversal or something like that, but the games aren't necessarily canon, so I don't want to really talk about that. You could just place that one where you will. It might be above all of the other MS, just because, you know, it's Madara and he's stronger than all of them, but yeah, I just thought I'd add this really quick, just in case you were wondering. There are other eyes to talk about, such as like the Tenseigan and the Ketsuryagan, as well as Ishiki's eye in Boruto, but this video is already long, so if you want me to talk about those as well, just let me know in the comments and I'll make a separate video about them. But yeah, that's it for this video. I really hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, a like would be much appreciated, as it lets me know that you enjoyed this type of content on the channel. If you want more content similar to this, then check out some of the other videos on the channel and consider subscribing. It's completely free, and if you change your mind later, you can always unsub. We also have a channel membership if that interests you, where you get extra perks and more content, as well as a shout out at the end of every video. But yeah, that's it for this one. Thanks for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed. Trippy out. Peace.